Good evening. This is a multi-participant, video, family video, so to speak, for a special occasion. And I'll let you guess, because we're having a 1961 Barolo by Enrico Serafino, the Barolo Classico Riserva Speciale. And the year is significant not because it means something to us and to me, not because it was an amazing year per se. In any case, we're going to find out if the wine is good. This is a pretty short cork. As you can see, it was typical, I guess, of the time when, and then corks got a little bit longer, I think, over time. The cork is in pretty good shape, so I'm hopeful. Anyway, these guys, this family started making wine in the late 1900s, 1800s, sorry. So it was a successful businessman who started making wine in the region before you even had the appellations of Barolo and Barbaresco in the north in Piedmont, in the town Old Canale, and then the areas became known for Barolo and Barbaresco afterwards. But they kept making their wines, and they're still in business after having gone through a couple of corporate ownerships. Now I think they're owned by another private owner. At some point, they were part of the Campari group of drinks. And they're still active and making good wines. I also like the bottle, the design of the label. A lot of it really is a throwback to those days where, we just have a reminder of the design, the style, and also the way of making wines. Let's jump into the wine. We're gonna all have something to say. Hopefully, and I don't know if we're gonna like it or not. The color already is very, very light. You guys can see that. And that comes really with age. A lot of the pigments get somehow transformed into solids, so you have little bits floating at the bottom of the glass, and as a result, the wine gets lighter. The rim is very, very light, and you see the little bit of that the separation between the red and the white at the edges. What do you guys think of the color?
I think well, it's interesting because it's very cloudy. I think it's lighter, but that means that you see the cloudiness more, and it's got an interesting edge to it that looks a bit like to me kind of like a sunset where you can't really see where each color begins and ends in the gradient.
I also feel like it has a bit of a brown to it.
Yeah, it gets browner with age. I think definitely the wine loses some of the red, gets into sort of rust and brown.
Yeah.
Brick,
yeah.
brick color.
It also has like a weird clear edge to it.
Yeah,
very clear. It's almost like the color doesn't go all the way. Yeah, as if there were like a layer of water on
oil
top.
And water.
Yeah.
And yet the center is fairly opaque.
Yeah.
Well, it's got stuff in it. That's what Mireille said. There's like things, there's solids in it. Let's take a whiff. To me, it's sort of, to me, it's more really the woods and the leathers, like old wood, old leather, not the musty type, but more the patina-ed, sort of relaxed, got this notion about it that I've been around for a while, I'm going to be around for a while longer, I still have something to say, I'm not talking about myself. And it's also just got this, again, it's got the age, it's got the patina, but it still has some vibrancy. And it's got that a little bit of the oiliness on the nose that also comes from old leather and old wood, at least to me, and some of the earth. So not as much fruit. You've now moved into the phase where you're getting all these other aromas. I don't know what you guys think.
Like a well-used library, not musty, just.
Yeah, a little bit of also like exactly that, the library, but also a little bit of that. Maybe lamp oil. I don't know how to say, is it too much or
I don't get that.
No? Okay.
You must get a little peatiness.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of sulfur or even flintness in it. And sulfur not in a bad way, but that sharp kind of iron, zing. Again, I think to me what's important is really more the overall impression as opposed to specific, chemical
I still get
compounds.
some type of like an orange or some type of
Citrus. Yeah.
but not in a sharp way. In a softer and softer.
What do you
way.
think, Niray?
Well, I was saying cherry earlier.
The sourness, I think, reminds you of the cherry. There's a bit of sourness that actually we're gonna get on the tongue because I went ahead a little bit, you know. Of
I'm
course.
surprised that the bouquet is nice given the age. I was expecting something fustier. But
Well,
it's-
but again, it could be, but it isn't. So I think the wine is still good. It's changed a lot. I'm sure it wasn't like this 20 and 30 years ago, but it's still good. It hasn't gone bad and become unpleasant.
no.
It just goes into a different phase where it's completely different. And it's not necessarily better or worse, it's just a different kind of wine. And it's interesting I think, to have wine in these different categories because you wouldn't know it otherwise. I don't know how often you have a 60-year-old bottle of Barolo. And Barolo ages pretty well, and the grape lends itself to this, so at least you have the good elements to start with. You guys want to taste it?
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you guys think?
Oh, there is like a sweetness to it.
Yeah.
Like a fruity sweetness to it. Not in a...
Not
it's
super
not-
sweet.
Yeah, it's not cloying.
Almost like an overripe fruit that's kind of
Yeah.
almost beginning to decay. I know it sounds unappealing, but you get that sort of mushiness a little bit and that fruitiness, but it's not super sweet. It's past that sweetness, you know, but it's not tart either. It's just a little bit of that.
I'm getting a smokiness.
It is. I think there is a little bit of that too, as we saw on the nose with the peatiness. But you've been consistent on that, so that's good. Something you're detecting, which is, you know. How about on the finish, on the palate? Do you feel
The finish is pretty light.
Yeah, it's very
like,
light.
Kind of, yeah.
So it
disappears
just
quickly.
comes and
Yeah.
goes. It comes and goes. I call it like one of these polite wines. I mean, I think it's pleasant while it's there. It makes interesting conversation, but you know, it doesn't linger past bedtime, and it doesn't make a fracassant entree. You know, so.
I will say,
But-
I don't know if it will stand up to a steak dinner.
I think it will. We're gonna
We're
make
gonna
it.
find
And
out.
we're gonna find out, and we'll let you guys know in the comments at the end. But the steak itself doesn't have a lot of flavors added to it. It's just pretty straightforward, you know, meat, so it might work. And it goes with a little bit of the blood color. You have in your glass. Any other comments?
No.
Anyway, so this is a good opportunity to try something of this age. It's still in good condition. I bought it from a good store that I bought a lot of wine from, so I had some trust. But you never know when you open a bottle of this age. A number of things could have happened to it, even if it wasn't leaking or it wasn't damaged in any way. Because again, this thing's been in there for 60 years and it could develop in interesting ways. So it's encouraging to try more of such things and kind of describe what you discover each time, even if you don't quite know what it's going to be like. And even if it's not exactly what you expect in terms of, oh my God, this was amazing, or oh my God, that was terrible. There's a lot of things in between that describe that particular status of the wine. Cheers, and then...
Happy birthday!
Thanks.
Cheers
and
to
see you all
1961.
soon. Bye.